Hello, everybody. All right, so welcome to the Mikestand. Hope everybody's having a good day today. Of course, we're getting towards the end of the week here now. It's Thursday, June 13th, 2024. We're gonna give people a chance to come in here. I'm gonna give it a couple minutes or so for people to come in. I hope. There. Hey, Elk. Hey, Zena and Zena. As always, of course, guys, if you guys can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here to engage, that'd be appreciated. If um, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my abilities. So, with that being said, of course, now that we do seem to have some people in here, let's see, and we're okay. So, anyways, I guess we'll just go ahead and kind of just start. Well, hello. Let's see, Philadelphia. What's your favorite QC Quebec birds? I don't have any in particular. um, I don't have any in particular. I myself am not from Quebec. I'm from California. So, um, I think, I don't know if anybody is currently in the chat or whatever who is from Quebec or near Quebec, but yeah, I don't have any particular favorites because I'm not from there. So, so with that, so I'm going to go ahead and talk about, of course, what's on tap for tonight. We just going to be doing one article. Sorry, I thought someone was from Quebec. Well, okay, Rick Piper, who of course has his own channel, it's Cross Comics as well. He's not from Quebec, he's from Hamilton, um, Ontario. So so he's probably the one who's closest to that. But anyways, and he's not, I don't know, I don't think he's here right now anyways. But with that being said, let me talk about what's on tap for tonight here. So tonight, as I said, we're going to go over one article. We're going to go over the Indie Comics Showcase from Indie Comics Showcase from Bleeding Fool, where we'll be looking at Chris Braley's interviews with some of the latest self-publishing comics. Also, of course, we'll have the wrestling wrap up as we look ahead to the weekend here. As WWE will have Clash of Cats, I believe, on Saturday or Sunday. Tomorrow night, of course, TNA has its Against All Odds pay-per-view as well. So you got a lot of big stuff going on over the weekend. And of course, AEW. We'll talk a little bit about AEW, about what happened on Dynamite last night, as well as what to look forward to for tomorrow's Rampage and Saturday's Collision. And then, of course, we'll have the This Day in Each History. With all that being said, why don't we go ahead and get started then? And let's get going here as we're about to hit the 5-minute mark here. Let me just grab the all right, so here we go. So now let's go ahead and get started on the article here. Indie Comics Showcase number 276. Woke Busters, which sounds interesting. Atrium and Monkey, a graphic novel article by Chris Braley, published June 12, 2024, which was yesterday. So, here we go. Welcome back to another installment of Indie Comics Showcase, the weekly blog where we signal boost a few truly independent comics that are currently crowdfunding their projects crowdsourcing their funding in some way, or just completely self-publishing on their own. Every little bit of support for these creators matters, from a single dollar pledge to the $25 bundle. And of course, the higher tiers are usually fun too. Even if you can't back a campaign or buy a book, you can share or tweet about these projects to your friends or friends and families, or friends and followers. Also, of course, you can check out here on Thursday nights when I go over the article as well, and of course pass along information to my audience for those who may be interested. So, as we continue to move forward here with the article, on Indie Comic Showcase, we interview the creators, show off some art, and tell you how you can check out the product for yourself. Below, we have some outstanding crowdfunding campaigns this week for you to learn about, enjoy, and hopefully support by backing one or more of them. Thanks for checking these out and for being the best part of Indie Comic Showcase. Let's jump in. Monkey, a graphic novel, Volume 1 by Zio Niu. All right. Monkey. I wonder if this has any connection to the old Chinese novel or Chinese classic Journey to the West. I wonder if it has anything to do with that. I guess we'll find out soon enough here. Let me also go grab the link here. So this is a Kickstarter campaign. All right. Of course, I'll bring it back up here so you guys can see the. Well, I need to see the. So I can type it in properly here. So there's the link if you guys want to go check that particular book out. We'll talk. Of course, we'll read through more of it in a moment here. Let's see. If you guys want to go check that link out, there it is. And I'll put the other links up later as we get to each of the parts here. So, Monkey, a graphic novel by Zio Niu. There's the old, alien skull right there on his shirt there. All right, so Chris Braley, briefly tell us the elevator pitch of your comic. Zio Niu. Monkey is like 1/3 Dr. Strangelove, 1/3 Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, and 1/3 Tank Girl. Okay, a very interesting combination to say the least. It's a perfect concoction of alt history, post-apocalyptic, mutant-filled action comic. Monkey is a fully colored graphic novel series, and the first issue is 64 pages long. It's a vibrant reinterpretation of the Chinese classic Journey to the West. How did I know? Didn't I just ask that at the before I even got into this? I said, I wonder if this is going to be an interpretation of the Chinese classic Journey to the West. Uh, anyways, let me just check something here. Got a message from Facebook here indicating that somebody had replied back to something I wrote. Oh, yeah. Alright, anyways, that being said, let's get back to the. Yeah, but as I was just saying, though, kind of funny how I guessed that right off the bat. I was thinking it's possible this could be a reinterpretation or reimagining of Journey to the West. I mean, a number of people have done. I mean, even the Dragon Ball franchise is considered a reinterpretation of it as well. So, I mean, a lot of people have done it. A lot of different franchises have done their own versions as well. So, the story traces the extraordinary journey of Monkey, a rebellious anti-hero born from a dinosaur egg in the Nevada desert during the height of the Cold War. Hmm. A dinosaur egg that breeds a monkey. Interesting concept there. Are you saying that that dinosaurs and monkeys are trying to breed with each other? His existence challenges the U.S. government, leading to a cataclysmic World War III and the narrative into a post-apocalyptic wasteland 500 years later. Chris, where did the idea for this comic come from that made you decide to self-publish it? Uh, let's see. I need to remind myself of the guy's name again here. Got kind of a very unique, Zio. Zio. I grew up with the classic story Journey to the West, and Monkey King is absolutely the number one superhero for me personally. When Gorillas teamed up with a Chinese director for an opera edition of Journey to the West, I was blown away by the concept and Jamie Hewlett's punk rock reimagination of the concept design. The idea of what if Monkey is a punk rock superhero? Interesting. Popped into my head. And a few iterations, after a few iterations, I fell in love with the idea of inserting Monkey into a Gonzo-style post-apocalyptic alt history. There are a lot of literary and historical references peppered throughout the series. I believe there's a space in the indie comic book graphic novel market for a story that's fun, sometimes ridiculous, yet rooted in real historical events. That's why I decided to launch it on crowdfunding. There's some more of the artwork there. See if anybody has anything to say yet. As always, if you haven't already, if you guys can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here to engage. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or yeah. No, I'm not answering emails. I was checking because I saw that I got a message on Facebook, a direct message. So I was just replying back to him. So didn't take all that long, and I was still pretty focused. So, um, anyways, um, anyways, so Kristen asked, "Who is it aimed at?" Zio. This is for people who like the history of the 1950s, 60s, the Cold War, rock and roll, the Beat Generation, the whole nine yards. If you happen to be a Journey of the West fan, another layer of narrative will be unique to you. Still, even if you've never heard of the story, the rendition will have you hooked. If you're into alt history and post-apocalyptic action comics. Now, there have been a number of different franchises that have used either in whole or parts of the Journey of the West story. Let's see. The Dragon Ball franchise is based on Journey of the West. I believe during the Dark Tournament saga in Yu Yu Hakusho, one of the teams competing in the Dark Tournament was based on characters from an element of Journey to the West. I know that there was a Teen Titans episode that had elements of Journey to the West in it. So oh, anyway, and then here's some more of the artwork. Let's see if anybody else says anything here. All right, continuing on with the article here then. Chris, tell us about your style and creative process and how you develop them. Zio, the script's first draft took me a long time to finish because I found it challenging to visualize the panel flow. Uh, in parentheses here, I don't have an art background. Coming up with stories and plot lines was the easy part since the source material, Journey to the West, provided a very clear through line of story arcs. So I could just pilfer elements as needed. Okay. With writing the script, I laid out the script in panels. I designed, in parentheses here, very preliminarily on my iPad and drew stick figures just to have a basic idea of composition. I was extremely lucky to find the artist, David Monge Batista, who is not only a fantastic artist, also very adept at paneling. He ended up changing many of my panel designs, and they proved to be the right changes. It really elevated the whole story. If anybody's got anything to say right now. Nope, no new comments yet. Okay. Let's see. And the barbecue. um, Chris, talk about your creative team uh, that contributed to this project. Let's see. Zio. I found my artist, David Monge Batista, via a Facebook group, and his vibrant style immediately captivated me. Not only is he an excellent um, comic book artist, but his sense of humor also matches the story very well, which is a rare find. For example, there's a robbery scene in the script, and it was David's idea to draw two bandits as characters from Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, adding flair to the whole sequence. It took me a long time to locate the right colorist. I'm not a fan of the popular glossy style, glossy in parentheses there. I was determined to find a colorist who could deliver a punk rock gritty but fun style that embodies the story. David's line art is amazing, so I didn't want to tarnish it with mediocre coloring. I probably tried out a dozen colorists with test pages um, before I found Nikos Kotsis. Nikos is a veteran in the field and has worked on numerous projects for publishers like Image, IDW, and Boom. Working with him has been one of the smoothest processes ever, and the product he turned in has been fantastic. Frank Savekovich did the lettering. He was a referral from an artist who worked on another project of mine, in parentheses, which will be released soon. Just like Nikos, Frank was an absolute breeze to work with, and I'm super happy with the lettered copy. Here's some more of the panels here, guys. Okay, what's your production workflow like? Chris asked. And if it's not complete, how far along is the book? Zio. My production workflow is quite involved as I'm the writer and creator of the series, and I pre-fund everything out of pocket. It's a brutal business, and I don't want the artists to work in the hope that they might get a share only if the book sells. In Yeah, if I understand correctly, that's kind of the deal that Yellow Flash, I think, offered. The idea is, well, I'm not going to pay you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you like a percentage of the book. But of course, only thing with that is if it sells, and let's see. While some partnerships might work that way, I want to ensure the bottom line is covered so the artist can focus on delivering their best work. That's a very interesting perspective there. So I'm wearing the hats of both writer and producer. Well, I would think more like publisher, really, but I finish the script and send it to David for line art. David creates a rough pencil draft and sends it back to me for notes. After incorporating the notes, David finalizes the line art. We repeat this process repeatedly, and then we do a final pass to fix minor issues like consistency. Once the line art is done, it goes to Nikos for coloring. Nikos usually sends in batches of 5 colored pages at a time. I provide notes, and we continue until it's done. But the colored copy, before the colored copy goes to Frank for lettering, I re-edit the whole script. Parentheses, since David often changes the panel design, unparentheses, to align with the art copy, and specific lettering notes, and send it to Frank. That's pretty much the whole process. Issue 1, in parentheses, 64 pages, has been fully completed. The script and line art for issue 2, 60 plus pages, are also done, with coloring and lettering pending. I have the outline for the next 3 to 4 issues and plan for a minimum of 10 to 12 issues in the future. That's likely to address a question that Chris often asks. Any plans beyond, any more material you're going to put out there beyond this book? It sounds like a lot, but I'm optimistic about the future. Nothing new yet. Okay. What have you been learning from self-publishing and crowdfunding through this process? Chris asked. Zio, it's a dreary, gruesome, and highly time-consuming process with minimal financial reward. However, the creative reward is ineffable. If I had to do it all over again as a newcomer, I wouldn't start with 2 full-blown graphic novel projects simultaneously. In parentheses, that was what I did, and it was draining to say the least. No kidding, that much work, and even something I just kind of found out when I went for my eye appointment yesterday. Sometimes when you're reading too much, or when you're like looking at a computer screen all day, and you're not blinking enough, you dry out your eyes, and you can really get yourself pretty drained. The point you feel like you got to take a nap, But just my own experiences there. Let's see. Instead, I'd start with a proof of concept or something small, like 12 pages, learn the whole process, and then scale up to a longer, more ambitious project. I also dragged the Kickstarter planning for a long time, partially due to my schedule and partially because I had no idea how to sell it. To me, selling is way scarier than creating. But like anything, the more you do, the more you learn. You just have to go ahead and do it, which is true. In other words, sometimes the most important step is the first step, right? Sometimes if there in any journey, that you plan to take, the most important step is the first step, because that's what gets you going in the first place. Let's see now. Chris, what are your plans beyond this book? Are there more stories to do? Well, I think it's kind of funny Chris asked that, and I think I just mentioned it. I think he kind of already did answer that question even before Chris asked it, the last answer there. But anyways, let's see how Zio responds to this question. This series consumes the majority of my time for graphic novels. but I do have other projects pending. For example, I've completed a horror graphic novel, in parentheses here, standalone, black and white, 80 plus pages, on parentheses, and it will hopefully be released on Kickstarter in a few months. The big plan is to release issue 2 of Monkey by the beginning of next year and carry on from there. Okay. Now, granted, that was also putting in details in terms, I guess, when he's going to do it, and he sounds like an inefficient publisher. Uh, well, maybe it's more of a case he's just kind of new to the job and doesn't really, have the experience to know yet. That's possible. It's possible. All right. So as we continue on with the article here. All right. So here's some more. All right. So Chris then asked, was then mentioned, "We're rooting for you, Zio. Good luck on what looks like a great campaign." All right. So now the next one here is Woke Busters by Jeff Hicks. They're here to save society from Woke Busters, a paranormal parody. Oh boy, this sounds actually like a fun title. Let me go grab the. And this one's a Kickstarter as well. This one's a Kickstarter campaign as well. Let's go, woke busters. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go, woke busters. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Da 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 da. Let's go, woke busters. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go, woke busters. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. They call this Woke Busters a paranormal parody. I wonder what they're parodying. Well, let's see. Maybe Ghostbusters, or could it be woke? I guess we'll find out soon enough, right, guys? There's the link if you guys want to go check it out for yourselves. Let's go, woke busters. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go, woke busters. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. All right, so let's get into finding out what this book is all about. All right, so Chris Braley, welcome to Indie Comics Showcase, Jeff. Hit me with the elevator pitch for your comic, Woke Busters. Jeff Hicks, in parentheses, read in a Don LaFontaine voice, parentheses, in a world driven to the brink of destruction by outrage. 4 men will answer the call to save society from itself. Wokebusters, a paranormal parody, satirizes modern-day society and the outrage that turns people into monsters. Oh boy, it sounds like a fun comic, doesn't it? Boy. All right, so anyways, Chris then asked, what kind of comic reader is this aimed at? Jeff, Wokebusters is an epic comedy. It's 100 pages with a lot of action. I didn't want people just standing around making jokes. It's a comic, and I take full advantage of the medium. It's not particularly vulgar. If it were an early '80s movie, it would be PG by the MP, a Motion Picture Artists Association, I guess. Um, but because it's released in 2024, it would be canceled by the MPAA. In all seriousness, the book will appeal to anyone from early teens on. You don't even need to be a Ghostbusters fan to enjoy Wokebusters. Yeah, I mean, I would think they're parenting elements of Ghostbusters and woke. I think both things are being parodied, if I had to guess, which would make Wokebusters almost a portmanteau, right? Um, with that, let's get ready to move on to the next part of the article here. And look at that. What, pray tell, are they doing there? Oh boy. Oh boy. Let's see. Where did the idea for this comic originate and led to your decision to self-publish? Jeff, rather. The idea for Woke Busters came from the same place my previous graphic novel, Stealing Solo, um, came from came from a joke on the WCB's podcast. The guys and I have joked about many things over the past 400 episodes, and Wokebusters just stuck with us. After Stealing Solo, um, it was a no-brainer. I decided to self-publish it because I've been fortunate enough to self-publish in the past. Through my YouTube channel, I have been able to reach an audience um, for many years, and this is a great way to get my books out there. There's a green monster there. Are they dealing with envy there, or just something else altogether? All right. So, anyways, as we continue on here, then, Chris, that's right. This isn't your first comic. How do you approach comics production? Jeff, I approach comics very seriously, but I keep it fun. I'm always drawing. I find that genuinely fun. I've been doing paid work since 2013, and back then I was just drawing the best I could. Now I can approach a comic with different styles that are more in line with the tone of the story I want to tell. I wanted Wokebusters to reflect the parody of a society we live in, so I made it look bright and colorful like a cartoon to contrast some of the darker elements. Hmm, very interesting. They're here to save society from itself. A big blue creature there. Uh, and look at their signal. So you got the red kind of cross out over what I'm guessing is a piece of waste product, as it were. Uh, Chris, Stealing Solo was a satirical look at the Star Wars fandom. Is this a similar look at Ghostbusters fandom too, or something else? Jeff, Stealing Solo was a response to the disappointment I felt after seeing The Force Awakens. Wokebusters is a satire of current day society in a Ghostbusters styled package. Um, Wokebusters doesn't have much to say about Ghostbusters at all. So basically, the only connection they have with Ghostbusters is that they use it more as a mechanism to poke fun at wokeism, at woke culture. So that's what I think it's boiling down to there. Um, let's see now. Because Ghostbusters is a good franchise again, I took the Ghostbusters working man approach to the paranormal and applied it to the outrage based scientific research of the Wokebusters. It's an easily digestible way to show people fighting the physical manifestations of what internet outrage looks like. Um, Also, there really isn't really a Ghostbuster style parody in existence, so I thought it would be cool. I am a fan after all. So, and again, as I just said, I believe what he's talking about is he's utilizing the Ghostbusters as more of a mechanism in which to use to parody woke culture. Let's see. Slain apprehended. Slain apprehended. Hmm. Chris, what have you learned from self publishing through these projects? Jeff, self publishing is a lot of work and a never ending process, but if you love it like I do, that's never a problem. It requires knowledge of the entire creation process. I've learned that to fully be independent, one must understand story, art, networking, the printing process, shipping, and more. I am fortunate I can write and draw my own stories. That's the biggest obstacle for a lot of people. But it's more than just that. That's the easiest part. Um, Getting the book made takes a lot of work. Selling it requires a lot of work. I've taught myself how to do many things because I love comics, but the extra skills I've learned along the way are a nice bonus. I think crowdfunding is great. I'm very grateful to all the people who believe in me and the idea. It has helped me create quality books. I like it because it gives people an alternative to the medium or the mainstream and less of a barrier for the creator. However, I'm working towards an alternative. I'm going to get Wokebusters into a lot of people's hands and turn myself into a publishing company. Wow, that's interesting. Is he going to morph into a building like maybe Plastic Man or something like that? Hmm. Joking, joking, joking. Let's see. I want to be in stores. I want to be everywhere. That being said, I wouldn't be where I am now without the people, and I'm very thankful I'm living my dream. How could I not be happy? Hmm. Hmm. Chris, you wrote and illustrated, but who's the rest of your creative team? Jeff, I'm very fortunate to have wonderful creative team on Wokebusters. I wrote the story and drew the pages. A guy called Chris inked, and oh, okay, your inker happens to be named Inker. That's cute. That's cute. You have an inker named Inker. Okay. And my colorist goes by um, Surians. Um, I gave them room to experiment, and that added some extra flavor to the book. There's a lot of creativity on display in Wokebusters. The book is already completed and ready to go to print. All right, some interesting imagery here. Let's see. Are you working on your next comic? If so, then give us any hints. Jeff, of course. I'll tell you about the entire lineup for the upcoming year. My next book is titled Christmas 93. It's about a mall Santa that promises a kid the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers figures and the crazy journey the mom goes on to make it happen. It's based on a true story and has become a Christmas legend around here. We tell that story like other families retell the night before Christmas. Also, there's another. I remember there's another story like that too. A Christmas Story is another one that's kind of like that too. Kind of the same premise. I also have a few more, like a kaiju story, a stealing solo sequel, and a little later down the road, a superhero book. Be on the lookout for more from me. I have many stories to tell. I look forward to them. Thanks, Jeff. Chris finished up. Now we get Atrium from Steve Bino. Steve Bino. See if anybody's. Oh, well, let me go and grab the link here. This one's gonna look kind of real. And this one's a Fun My Comic project. Atrium 1 to 3, an action suspense horror thriller. All right. So let's grab the link here to show everybody. All right. So let me put that in. Let's see. First off, let me go back up to the. Atrium by Steve Bino. And here's a link to that if you guys want to check that out. I guess it's issues 1 through 3. I'm guessing there. You guys want to check that out? Huh. All right. All right. So, well, let me just go check something here. I want to quickly check something else here real quick. We're heading. All right. I got to have a. All right, I'll check that out a little. That's the Atrium by Steve Bino. So let's get into this. Let me slow this down a little bit so you can all see the artwork here. Atrium. All right, so Chris Braley. Welcome to Indie Comics Showcase, Steve. What's the pitch for Atrium? Steve Bino. Humanity's fate lies in the hands of two paramedics and their security detail as they race against time to deliver a donor heart and elude the assassins driven to stop them at all costs. Atrium is an action suspense horror thriller in the vein of The Transporter and The Taking of Pelham 123. Atrium is a 5-issue miniseries with issues 1 through 3 fully funded and printed. Each issue is 22 to 24 pages and is in full color. You like action, suspense, car chases, shootouts, and horror? Then Atrium is for you. Let's see. Chris, where did the idea for this comic come from and what inspired you to self-publish? Steve, our idea for Atrium has been germinating for a few years, and what initially started as a concept for an indie film eventually blossomed into a comic book property. We pitched Atrium to several publishers, and after not getting any traction, decided to go the crowdfunding route. We kickstarted issue number 1 last November and recently crowdfunded issues 2 and 3 a few months ago. Wrapped. Anyways, Chris, talk about your style and creative process, Steve. Steve, I grew up reading a lot of Marvel and DC when I was a kid, and have loved comics ever since. I am a big fan of movies, anime, and television, and I tried to create stories that lit my creative spark all those years ago. I also illustrate and draw my own comics, so I always try to make sure I'm aware of what people will look like when I'm writing. Chris, who is on your creative team? Steve? On art, we have Lucas Philippi. Peter Van Horn and I are the co-creators and writers. Nikos Kostis, oh, there's that name again. He's busy. He's on this project, and he's on the first one there, Monkey, the graphic novel. And Mike Torres handled colors. Gregory Parkin is on letters, and Vaughn Joseph is our editor and designer. Oh, there we go. That. Chris, what's your production workflow like? Steve, everything starts with the planning of the overall series. Then what the beats will be for each issue. I work with my co-creator, co-writer, Peter Van Horn, to make sure the structure is solid, and then we script the issue. The script is sent to the artist, and he comes back with breakdowns for the issue. I reread the script along with his breakdowns and provide notes if necessary. Once final line art is complete, it's off to the colorist and letterer to work their magic. The book then goes to design to add some special touches, and then it goes out to the printer. All right, so here are some of the panels. Here are some more panels here for you guys to check out. Kristen asks, what have you been learning from crowdfunding through this process? Steve, the biggest takeaway from the entire experience is just how involved it all is. Creating the book, while difficult, almost seems like the easiest part of the process. Fulfillment, shipping, and advertising, social media, printing, and communicating with your backers can be overwhelming. Yeah, taking on that many hats would really, would really push anybody to the brink. The first time around, you just have to remember it's a constant hustle. Do the hustle. Da, 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 da. Anyways, Chris then asks, beyond the 5 issues planned, are there more stories to tell? Steve, the world of Atrium is a vast one with lots of world building possibilities to explore once the current miniseries is over. We're only scratching the surface in issues 1 through 5 and have a lot of ideas planned for where we'll go next. So I guess that's just, and he just will need to take the time to figure out just exactly how to do it. More panels here for you guys to look at. Anything, Kristen asks, anything else you'd like to share with our readers before we sign off? Steve then points out issues 4 and 5 wrap up the miniseries. The creative team is working hard to deliver a story that will entertain and keep you on the edge of your seat. We're entirely grateful to our backers and can't wait to introduce more people to the world of Atrium. Chris, good luck on the campaign. Steve. All right. Well, there we go with that. That's it for this installment. If you're a creator ramping up your own campaign or have a comic available for purchase online and you want to be featured in our weekly column, click here. And follow Indie Comics Showcase on Twitter at Indie Comics. And reach out to them for more eyes on your crowdfunding comic project. Till next time, support Indie Comics. And of course, I think that's X now, not Twitter, but I guess they just never got around to changing. Chris just never got around to changing that in the formatting. So, anyways, so yeah, that almost took we started about 5 minutes in. We're almost at 50, so that took 53 minutes to get through it. But then a couple of those were really lengthy interviews too, a little longer than usual. But with that, let's go ahead and talk about some of the stuff going on, of course, this upcoming weekend in the world of pro wrestling as AEW continues to prepare for its next pay-per-view, Forbidden Door, as well as preparing for for the Owen Hart tournament as well, in which the winners will get the men's bracket winner and the women's bracket winner will each get a shot at their respective world title. As of course, on the men's side, of course, Pac and Shingo Takagi, Pac and New Japan's Shingo Takagi made their intentions known that they were entering the Owen Hart Cup. But as for last night, in the third of the 4 Forbidden Door qualifying matches, scapegoat Jack Perry of the New Elite defeated Dustin Rhodes. Roosh defeated local guy Dion Rushman, who and afterwards had a very volatile physical confrontation with MJF, setting up a match for next week's Dynamite, upcoming Wednesday here, in which they'll actually start off the show. No commercial breaks, total commercial free battle between two top guys in AEW, 2 former world champions. MJF, a former AEW world champion, Roosh, a former Ring of Honor world champion. Also, in a 6-man tag match, Roderick Strong teamed with 2 members of the Don Callis family, Ring of Honor World Television Champion Kyle Fletcher, with Konosuke Takeshita, who's, of course, has already qualified for the 4-way ladder match for the TNT title at Forbidden Door. Defeated the trio of Ring of Honor World Champion Mark Briscoe, Orange Cassidy, and Kyle O'Reilly, with Fletcher, the World Television title holder, Ring of Honor World Television Champion, getting the pin on Mark Briscoe. In their first match together as a team, Hook and Samoa Joe defeated the premier athletes of Ari Daivari and Tony Nese. Of course, they were seconded by the wrestler Katsuyori Shibata. The premier athletes were led to the ring by their manager Mark Sterling, who got knocked on his butt by Shibata. Hook and Samoa Joe took care of the premier athletes in about 2.5 minutes. In a TBS title match, Mercedes Moné defeated CMLL's Zoxis, who is the tag partner of Stephanie Vaquer, Mercedes Moné's upcoming opponent at Forbidden Door. She's, of course, will be challenging Vaquer, as she'll be putting up her TBS title, and Vaquer will be putting up the New Japan Pro Wrestling New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong Women's Championship in a title versus title match. The winner takes home both titles. Daniel Garcia defeated Nick Camarado in just over 1 minute. And in the main event, saw AEW International Champion Will Ospreay defeat Rey Fenix in a match as he continues to prepare for his upcoming title shot at Swerve Strickland at Forbidden Door. With a bit of a confrontation that happened afterwards, as Swerve was in the crowd watching on, as it took 2 hidden blades to put Phoenix down enough for Ospreay to get the pin. So, also announced on last night's show for next month, on I believe it's Wednesday, July the 27th, I believe. The next Blood and Guts match, which is basically a enclosed cage style match, a battle of 2 teams of 5. The Elite with the Elite challenging basically the 5 best AEW wrestlers to represent AEW in the match. They of course have the advantage on AEW, having beaten Bryan Danielson, Darby Allin, and FTR during Double or Nothing at the Anarchy in the Arena. Blood and Guts is taking it one step further. So, but that's all that happened on Dynamite last night. You also had, of course, Shirakawa doing a promo, preparing for her upcoming title match against Toni Storm for the AEW Women's World Title. And coming up for AEW on this Friday's Rampage, on tomorrow night's Rampage, you will have a non-title match. Tony Storm taking on Alex Windsor. You'll have the Cage of Agony in action in six-man tag action. Brian Cage, Bishop Khan, and Toa Leona taking on the team of Kevin Gutierrez, Jay Marston, and Solomon Tupu. Rocky Romero takes on Shota Umino in a battle of two New Japan guys. And then Satman Singh and Jay Lethal will both be in action representing as Satman Singh takes on Rosario Grillo, while Jay Lethal takes on Pac, who, as we just mentioned before, made his intentions known to be part of the Owen Hart Cup coming up next month. So, and then this weekend, on Saturday, AW will have, now of course, Rampage will come to y'all from the Wells Fargo Arena in Des Moines, Iowa. Coming up this Saturday on Collision, on this week, the 1 year anniversary Collision. The Acclaimed already said they're going to be there. In the final of the Forbidden Door qualifying matches for the ladder match for the TNT title, Lee Moriarty will be taking on Lee Moriarty of the Shane Taylor Promotions will be taking on one half of Top Flight, Dante Martin. In a no disqualification match, two former women's world champions, Thunder Rosa and Deonna Purrazzo, will be taking each other on. In an 8-man tag match, the Blackpool Combat Club of Claudio Castagnoli, Bryan Danielson, IWGP World Heavyweight Champion Jon Moxley, and Ring of Honor Pure Champion Wheeler Yuta be answering the challenge of the tag team that's known as part of the faction of the Mighty Don't Kneel of Shane Haste and Mikey Nichols, also Rocky Romero and Leo Rush. And in a non-title 6-man tag, the representing the AEW World Trios and Unified World Trios and Ring of Honor World 6-man tag, the Bang Bang Gang of Austin Colton Gunn and Juice Robinson will be taking on the House of Black of Malachi Black, Brody King, and Buddy Matthews. Now also, of course, tonight TNA have its last Impact before tomorrow night's Against All Odds pay-per-view. So we'll look at those on tonight's Impact. Let's see what we have for that. So on tomorrow night's Impact, which, as I said, was the last one before on the night's Impact, last one before tomorrow night's Against All Odds pay-per-view. Ash by Elegance, who's the former Dana Brooke in WWE, she'll be taking on a mystery opponent. One half of Spitfire, Danny Luna, accompanied to the ring by Lars Fredrickson and her tag partner Jody Threat, will be taking on former TNA Knockout World Champion Tasha Steelz. In a match leading into their tag match coming up at on tomorrow night's It's All Odds pay-per-view, Mike Santana takes on one half of the Radicals, Zachary Wentz, who will of course have Trey Miguel in his corner. Marty Bell of the Hex takes on one half of the women's knockout TNA Knockouts tag team champions Masha Slamovich. In a battle of big men, Alex Hammerstone takes on Jake Something, And in their first tag team match ever together, the Nemeth brothers, who will be challenging the System's Eddie Edwards and Brian Myers for the TNA World Tag Team Championships tomorrow, will be facing off against a three-time former TNA World Tag Team Champions, ABC of Ace Austin and Chris Bay, representing Bullet Club. Now, also, this all, of course, leads into tomorrow night's Against All Odds pay-per-view from Cicero Stadium in Cicero, Illinois, which you have already slated for. Josh Alexander and Eric Young will be taking on Ace Austin and Chris Bay, a tag team match. Jonathan Gresham takes on Sami Callihan. Sami Callihan, I think, is looking for a little bit of revenge, not just because he was defeated by Gresham, I think, the last time they met, but also for having some ink, basically spit into his hand that he didn't care for. That has actually been making making people at TNA sick when they've been exposed to it. So we'll wait to see how that all plays out. As I just said, the Rascals, Trey Miguel and Zachary Wentz, will be taking on the team of former TNA World Heavyweight Champion Steve Macklin and Mike Santana. Jordan Grace has issued an open challenge for the Knockouts World title. We'll see who answers that challenge. For the TNA World Tag Team titles, as I previously mentioned, Eddie Edwards and Brian Myers will be taking on the Nemeth brothers. Mustafa Ali defends the X Division title against Trent Seven, and Moose defends the TNA World title against Matt Hardy. So with all that being said now let's, with today being Thursday, June 13th, 2024, let's take a look back at this day in Niche history. So, first off, we're going to head back to 1974, 50 years ago today. As on this date, 50 years ago today, back in 1974, the 80th issue of Casper's Ghostland from Harvey Comics went on sale on this date back in 1974. It sold for $0.25 and was 32 cents. Wouldn't it be nice if we could go back to the day when comics were like $0.25 or even as low as $0.10, right? Man, how many comics you could buy on a weekly basis if that was the case, right? Anyways, on this day, back in 1980, back in 50 years ago today, 80th issue of Casper's Ghostland went on sale from Harvey Comics on this date back in 1974. All right? So anyways, next up, I'd like to wish a happy 40th birthday to former American actor Philip Van Dyke. Now, Philip Van Dyke, probably most famous as the voice of Arnold from Hey Arnold, as well as Sandy, Boy with Bucket, and Ludwig. Also played a young Martin in The Secret of M2, Timmy to the Rescue, and also was Joel in the new Batman Adventures episode, Legends of the Dark Knight. So happy 40th birthday to Philip Van Dyke. Hope you had a good day today, my good man. So, anyways, moving on to 1999 now, 25 years ago today. On this date, 25 years ago today, WCW held its Great American Bash event, the Great American Bash, in the Baltimore Arena in Baltimore, Maryland. The main event saw Kevin Nash defeat Randy Savage via DQ to retain the WCW World Heavyweight title. The Jersey Triad of Diamond Dallas Page and Canyon with Bam Bam Bigelow in their corner defeated Chris Benoit and Perry Saturn to become the new WCW World Tag Team Champions. Rick Steiner retained the WCW World Television title in a Falls Count Anywhere match against Sting. Let's see, any other notable? The No Limit Soldiers of Conan and Rey Mysterio Jr. defeated the West Texas Rednecks of Kurt Hennig and Bobby Duncan Jr. and Kurt Hennig. This was the very famous or infamous feud, depending on how you look at it, of rap versus country, right? This is, the West Texas Rednecks, who was a faction in WCW with, of course, Kurt Hennig leading them. The Wyndham brothers, Barry and Kendall Wyndham, and Bobby Duncan Jr. They had that song, Rap is Crap, right? In response to some of the rap hip hop that Conan and Rey Mysterio and the No Limit Soldiers were doing. And the show opened up with a hardcore match that saw Hack, Chastity in his corner, defeat Brian Knobbs, who had Jimmy Hart in his corner. So that happened 25 years ago on this date back in 1999. And now we move ahead 10 years from there to 2009. On this date in 2009, Production IG's Musashi, The Dream of the Last Samurai, premiered in Japanese theaters on this date back in 2009. So 15 years ago today, Musashi, The Dream of the Last Samurai, an anime movie from Production IG, premiered in Japanese theaters on this date back in 2009. So with that, I thank everybody for being here tonight. I hope everybody enjoyed the show. Tomorrow, of course, we'll be finishing up our look at comics that went on sale in February 1940 in our historical comic retrospect. I will tentatively, I've asked him to be on it. He gave me a maybe. I may have Shadowhawk from Devil Flyer Momentum on with me as my co-host. I hope. We'll be looking at Shadow Comics numbers 1 and 2 from Street Smith. We'll be, of course, over some of the publishing history of Street Smith, as well as looking at some character histories on the Shadow, Doc Savage, and Street Smith's Iron Monroe. So with that, I hope you guys will be here tomorrow night to check that out. And with that, I thank everybody for being here, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye.